I'm just giving everyone just a few more minutes to see if we have anyone else joining us, and then we'll get started. While you guys are jumping in, go ahead and throw me in the chat. Just tell me where you are listening from. I understand we had a couple people sign up from different parts of the United States as well as the world. So let me know where you guys are listening from. And thank you again for joining me today. I appreciate ya. Let's see. See, it looks like Jason's from Pennsylvania. We have Ann down in Florida. A little jealous of you, Ann, right now, just because it's a little chilly out here up in the Chicago area. We got Colorado with Tamra. We got Carrie is from Bucks County, Pennsylvania. I can read, I promise you guys. We got Chris here in North Carolina. And I know there'll be some other people jumping in and joining us today as well. Got people from Arizona and Miss Carmen's down there. I am up in Chicago, Illinois right now. So today it's sunny, but it's a little bit chilly outside. I would like it to be just a little bit warmer if it was my preference, but I have to be happy because we don't have snow. So for those of you who have snow, I don't know if you have snow down over in Colorado or not, Miss Tamra. All right, let's give just everyone a few more minutes and then we will go ahead and get started. Again, today is going to be recorded. For those of you guys who are here today, you guys will be getting this email as well as with the recording, and then it's also going to be sent out to everyone who has signed up. I appreciate everyone who is joining me live. I know I try to make it as convenient a time as for everyone because I know we're joining in different parts of the United States as potentially as the world as well. So I was trying to make it at least reasonable for all of us. So I know that during this COVID lockdown, for those of you who are still in lockdown, I know up here we're still at the stay-at-home order. You don't necessarily have a ton to do on Saturday night, but I appreciate everyone for joining me today. I'm very excited to be meeting all of you guys virtually as best we can. All right, looks like, let's see, we'll give it one more second or two, and then I'll go ahead and jump into the presentation. I'll get everything set up here on my computer and get it ready to share. But again, my name is Dr. Kristen Massey. I am a doctor in physical therapy, and I have been trained in canine physical therapy as well. So I am up in the Chicagoland area treating our lovely canine rehab patients. And we do have canine Olga here today. She is taking a nap. She is over here, but she is going to be listening in, and I guarantee she will add in any comments that she would like to, depending on how well this presentation goes. So I am excited here. We'll go ahead and I'm going to share my screen for everyone. So let me know if you do not see the screen up right now. You should see a picture of our logo, the Working Canine Health and Wellness. So if you do not see that, throw it in the chat and I will see if I can figure out what's going on with my understanding of technology. All righty here. Perfect. All right. Let's see. All right, everyone. So today we're just going to be talking about the post-work check. But let me see who is, looks great. Perfect. Thank you, Anne. Thank you for letting me know that it's there. All right, so this is me. This is the Working Canine Health and Wellness. It is a company that I have created and started launching. This is actually our first product, first kind of presentation that we're getting out there. So I appreciate everyone who's joining me today and watching this as well on the recorded video for those of you who could not join us today. I will be taking questions towards the end, so if you have questions, you can throw them in the chat and I will look at them through the presentation, but I will have time at the very end to go through couple different things as far as questions go. So a little bit about me. These are my two girls. This is Canine Olga over here, and this is her actually biological mother, Miss Babs. She is my other puppy dog. She is taking a vacation out on the porch right now because she's enjoying the lovely cool weather. But so just a little bit about me and my story before we kind of jump into everything. So I did start off as a human physical therapist. Actually back in up until high school, I really wanted to be a veterinarian. And after when I got to high school, kind of found out what different things that we had to do as a veterinarian, which include euthanasia. And I knew that was just not for me. So decided to start looking into other options because I did know I wanted to be in healthcare of some sort. And if I could work with animals, that would be absolutely amazing. Found out about canine rehab at that time, but unfortunately at that time also, I didn't really have a mentor to help guide me through the process. So I didn't really know what to do next. So did my fallback, went into human physical therapy. Fast forward a couple years later, 2.5 years out of school, I was working in a job that I just did not fulfill me as far as my passion. I knew that deep down my passion was animals, and I love my people. I still got to work with people and pet parents right now. But as far as treating people, I knew that I needed to push my talents elsewhere. So that's where I found my canine mentor and my actual boss right now too, to help me guide me into the process as far as canine rehab goes. So that brings us to right now where I am treating actually senior dogs up here in the Chicagoland area. But as far as my personal passion is working canines. Now, the question is, why working canines? Well, I'm actually a part of a working canine team. This is my girl, Canine Olga. She is my service dog. And I know looking at me, I might not look like I need a service dog, but she is a great asset and a help to my life. She primarily helps me at night, and she does not come with work with me right now, just because since I do work with canines, it's something that she would be a little bit interfering with the treatment, especially with the other dogs. So she does not come to work with me, but she does come with me for everywhere else. She, like I said, she primarily helps me at night. She kind of helps keep me in check, wakes me up as needed, but she has been a wonderful, wonderful asset. But unfortunately, earlier this year, we had a little health scare with her. Wasn't anything big. Fellow colleague of mine pointed out something that she might be a little weak in an area. And of course, as you guys know, with your canine partners, that was the only thing I could think about is what is going to happen to her if this minor injury becomes actually an injury itself. And John here is good class kids. I appreciate ya. Let me see. Oh. Let's see. Messed up here, guys. Give me a second. I am just as new to technology as some of you might be as well. Let's see. All right, there we go. So like I said, we had a little health scare. It was thankfully nothing major, just a little bit of some wrist issues for her. But it was something that I was worried about because, I mean, any working canine, they have to be in their tip-top shape, just like your guys' canine partners. Something that could be a little minor thing for our, regular, either retired dogs or just regularly friendly pets could become something major for our working canines based on the physical requirements we use for them, both in training and out in the field. So that kind of made me thinking of what do I need to do now to help prevent any injury in the future and help keep her working for as long as she wants to and as long as it's healthy for her to work for. So that got me thinking, well, what if I am thinking about this, I guarantee there are other canine teams out there that their human counterpart is worried about this. They might be in great shape now, but what if something is going to happen to cause them to become a major injury? And the first step that I wanted to go to is looking at a check program in order to make sure our canines stay healthy and we catch those early injuries as well. So that brings us to our next topic. Now, I thank you everyone who sent in all these lovely pictures. I thoroughly enjoyed seeing our canine partners out here. So now you got to see a little bit of my girls because I like to show off my babies, but now we will go into and see our other search and rescue dogs that are out here, as well as some fun things. So this is Miss Lazel. She is an AirScent in training SAR dog. She is smart and goofy, and she amazes her person every single day. So thank you again for sending me those in. I wanted to really showcase our current working dogs right now, whether they are retired, currently working, or in training. So thank you for that. So today's topic, I'm going to be letting in people here and there. So RC Dyer, appreciate you. There you go. Now you're officially in. So thank you guys for coming in, and thank you guys for being patient as far as me managing the technological things coming up. Let's see, here we go. All right, so I talked to actually the Hoosier Search and Rescue team down in Indianapolis, Indiana. I talked to one of their canine team members and kind of that's where I got this post-work check idea from, because I talked with her and just like understanding a little bit, especially search and rescue dogs, because I knew search and rescue dogs existed. I knew that there's some differentiation, especially like cadaver dogs, you know, search and rescue dogs in like a urban environment versus like in the woods as well. So I knew there were some different things about it, but I wanted to get an actual team member and saying, hey, you know, can you tell me a little bit more about our search and rescue dogs, and what kind of things would you be interested in learning as far as helping to improve the overall health and wellness of your dogs? Because my goal is to get your dog before it's injured. I want to keep your guys working healthy, happy, and over the long term. And if there's injuries come up, you know, help direct you to the appropriate medical team to work with that. But I really want to keep our dogs from getting injured, and that's what their goal is to hear. So she talked to me a little bit about a post-work kind of like scan that she does, that it's a way to kind of check over the dogs just to make sure they're doing okay. So I did know there was an existed kind of mini check, but I wanted to create something that it was where we look at our dog from nose to tail and making sure there's absolutely nothing going on with them. So that's where this post-work check came in. So let's dive into the nitty-gritty. All right, like I said, the post-work check program is a detailed way to monitor our physical well-being of our canine partners in just 5 simple steps, because I don't want you guys to think it's like a 30-step process. This is just 5 simple steps that we're going to go through today as far as checking our dogs from nose to tail. It is so you know your canine partner best. Like I know dogs, but you know your canine partner best. Like I know canine Olga the best out of everyone. And this will be a way to help you monitor your partner, not only during training, but also during the field work and when they're out on the job. Now, I'm going to butcher this name. I can tell you that. But this is Zephyr. If I'm saying that correctly, please check me if I am wrong. He is training to be a USAR dog for one of Canada's task force. Best thing that he loves is that tug that he has in his mouth, so much so that he will drag you through the woods for it. So keep an eye out with him. He is definitely a good looking dog, and he is going to do great things here in the future. All right, so getting into the program, 5 simple steps. Step 1 is watch. Now, it is exactly what you think it is. It's watching our partners move. There's 2 components of this watch. There is watching our dogs walk, as well as going through a quick movement screen. So what the movement screen does is it brings our canines through different movements just to see how they're doing. The reason why we are doing this is we just want to look at all aspects of moving. Your canine partner is going to look different walking versus walking a little bit faster versus sitting down, laying down, and getting back up. And there's different components of that we look at. And me as a canine therapist, the movement screen is something I implement every single day with my current patients as a way to kind of look at how they're moving and as if there's anything discernible that I can see that's going on with them. So this is a great way for you guys to implement it after training, after our field work, going through those simple steps of watching our dog move. Very hands-off, just everything. You know your partner best. So looking to see if they look different as far as their movement goes. All right, this is Miss Wicca. She is a recovery search and rescue dog, and her famous talent is that she yodels to let her human know when she's mad or frustrated. So that is Miss Wicca. So I appreciate you guys. So again, step one is watch. See what they're doing, see how they're moving, walking around, and looking at that movement screen. Again, this is exactly what I do with Olga on a weekly basis. I do not do this on a daily basis because we are not doing at the high level of training as far as running out in the woods and or doing our practice searches, especially over the debris that some of our canines do. If we do on like a little like practice work day or anything that she's traveled on airplanes with me before. Yes, she's a big girl, but she can fit down in those airplane seats. That is when I implement this 5-step program. So it is tailored for each working canine. Right now I am focusing on our search and rescue dogs. So I'm talking about this, doing it every single time we do training, every single time we go out into field work. So that's where this program is coming from. So again, step one, watch, looking at all aspects of how your partner is moving around and walking, as well as going through that movement screen. All right. Again, this is Audie. She is an air scent canine in training, and she only has one speed, which is go. All right, so step two is look. Now these next two steps, step 2 and step 3, are gonna look very similar, but the purpose behind these steps is very different. So the look and the next step, step 3, may be something that you're similarly kind of working right now with our canines, but we're actually gonna go down and do it in a more detailed process. So looking is looking them from nose to tail, down their feet as well. So this is what you're going through their fur. You're looking to see if there's any significant obvious injuries. So any big cuts, anything that is like really swollen and red, or anything that you notice that is different, especially when you're looking at the legs from one side to the other. So this is just looking for the big things that we would notice right away. For our dogs that are a little bit fluffier, like Olga is a little bit fluffier, so I do have to actually pull her hair apart a little bit more. Some of our dogs, like Miss Audie here, wouldn't necessarily need to really pull apart her fur a ton just because her fur is so short. But again, it is good to kind of, especially like go opposite of the grain of the hair to see if there's any like obvious signs of injury for them. All right, and that brings us into step 3. So step 3 is the scan. So Miss Daisy May is showing off our scan today. She is a cadaver dog, and the fun fact about her is she has a black spotted tongue. Can't see it in the picture because she's got her serious work face on, but that's Miss Daisy May. So the scan is, again, going from head to tail. Now, we're going to get to the face and the feet in a minute. This is just looking at, I like to say, kind of back of the head all the way down to their tail and on their legs. This is where we're running our hands physically on our dogs to feel what's different. This is anything that we're looking as what I'm going to call a difference or anything new. You know, where you rub your hand along dog, like, you know, some dogs as they age, they get like little like lumps and bumps. So you rub down your dog and you're just like, that's new. That's different. That wasn't there yesterday. Or that didn't seem like, even if it was like a little like bumper lump, you know, like that didn't seem like it was that big yesterday and now it looks different. Especially with you guys that train on a daily basis, this is going to be a great way to not only give your partner some love, because what partner doesn't love a little bit of a rub down, but at the same time, this is going to be a great way for you guys to notice those small differences. And again, like I said, you know your canine partner best. A lot of the times, like when I see my patients, if I rub down, I notice something that's a little different for me, like it's something that I feel like is new, I often tell our pet parents. Most of the time they know about it because they're pretty good about checking their dogs, but sometimes it's something that comes out new. So again, this is just really getting our hands on more of like a heavy pet almost. We're really feeling if there's any differences or changes from like one day to the next almost. Really looking about how our dogs are doing and making sure we check again, and not necessarily just the big obvious signs that you would have looked in step 2, the one previous where you really notice a big difference. This is looking at more of like if there's any extra debris in there, are there minor cuts, are there any bugs as well. So this is a great way to kind of manage that step. Let me know as well if I'm going too fast. Sometimes I get talking and I get talking really quickly. So if I need to slow down, you know, give me some messages in the chat to slow down as well. All right, this is my favorite step, mainly because I feel very creative about this step as far as the 3 F's in our process of looking at the post-work check. It's the face, the fanny, and the feet. So our three very important aspects of our dog. So what we're doing here is, again, we're similar to step 3 and a little bit of step 2 as well, but really focusing down on especially important areas of our dog. Our dog's faces, especially our search and rescue dogs, their noses are extremely important. And we know from past, like getting in, especially if they're in certain debris, like especially for our recovery dogs or cadaver dogs that are in that really urban environment, as well in the disaster searches that our dogs are out in the woods as well. Things can happen with their noses. They could find something, they could smell in something, they can knock something with their nose. Different things like that is a great way why the face and fanny and feet are a separate entity of their own, because we really want to dive deep and look at those parts of the bodies really closely. So when you look at their face, we're looking at all aspects of their face, their nose, their eyes, their ears, especially looking in their ears as well. We're looking for different things like discharge, changes. Are they blinking their eyes a lot, not wanting to open their eyes? Does their nose look funny? Does it look really dry? Does it look like it's running something out that it shouldn't have? Checking the mouth, checking their teeth. I know you guys, dogs are great about not incorporating play when they're searching for your target as far as intercenting or cadaver recovery. But at the same time, you know, things happen. They might kind of sniff something, and like, you just want to make sure there's nothing in their mouth that wasn't there before you guys started. And then we move on to our fanny. So fanny is everything back there. It's our belly, kind of their butt, what I'm going to generally call their unmentionables as well, depending if you have a male or a female partner. As well as if they're intact or not intact. As far as like search and rescue dogs, I assume most of our dogs are intact, but at the same time, correct me if I'm wrong on that. But again, it's making sure everything looks good down there. There's no discharge, there's no extra scrapes, they don't look uncomfortable there as well, and there's no additional swelling that wasn't there before. It's making sure that their belly and everything is taken care of, because that's a really important part of the body that can get infections as well. It's not getting too much into detail in all that stuff, but again, face and fanny. And then last one is the feet. Now, it's not just a quick look at their paw pad and putting it down. It's really pulling their paw apart, looking in between their toes, looking on the surface of their paw pads as well as in their feet. I know the other day when I was walking one of my dogs, we all of a sudden was walking, and then I heard a noise, and I was like, that doesn't sound correct as you're walking. It sounded like she's dragging her feet. So I stopped her, grabbed her foot, turned her foot over. There was a big old stick lodged in her paw pad, and she could not care at all. She was just like, I'm just walking around. It doesn't bother me. But at the same time, anything like debris, sticks, or any, like, especially our urban environments, anything else that could caught on there as far as like foreign objects, we want to get that stuff out, that stuff cleaned up. We want to make sure that there's no cuts. Looking at their paw pads themselves, if they don't wear shoes, because I know depending on the actual search area, we might wear shoes just as a protective area. Making sure those paw pads itself look really good and healthy. We don't want them to look like they're overworn or they're red and swollen. Making sure those guys stay safe, especially like you guys down in the south where it is a little bit warmer. It is a concern to make sure that they're not walking around and burning their paw pads as well. As for you guys over in Colorado or in more northern states, as far as snow, again, our paw pad's getting too cold. That's not good. And even if it's something simple as like snow is stuck in their paw, getting that out, because we don't want that to sit in their paw pads, especially if it gets too wet as well. Let's see, pausing here again. All right, RC Dare, I think you're in here now. Apologize for that. Looks like you kind of got bumped out and came back in. All right, so again, why is this important? It's important for checking for scrapes, debris, and discharge on our fanny, our face, and our feet. And showing up on the slide is Miss Canine Luna. She is a trailing certified dog, and she's training for article search. Her hobbies is she is a drama queen and just loves to talk to her people. All right, last step. Hope these steps are making sense. Trying to make it clear and concise on the slides as well. And again, it's not this really big in-depth process. As far as checking through our canines, 5 or 10 minutes at most, unless there's something really big that's wrong that we need to assess a little bit further. Overall, this post-work check, going from nose to tail, unless you got a wiggle worm that doesn't really like to sit still too much, which we can talk about that in a bit as far as training goes. But this should not be taking as far as you immense amounts of time. This should be something, especially as you get to feel your canine better with these steps, feel how they're watching them move, looking at their skin, looking at their body, looking at how their legs move. This should be something that should be a relatively quick process to go through. And again, like I said in those emails before, I am giving you guys a prisoner friendly like written up workout of these steps, as far as to keep that on in your guys' search and rescue bag, in your car, or in your training bag, or anything like that. That way you guys, as you're learning this process and before it becomes just natural to you, you will have that easy to follow guide to kind of remind you of those 5 steps. So step 5, all fours. Another important part of our dogs is their legs. They don't have legs, they're not going very far. I know some of my dogs, they pretend not to have legs and just goop down when they don't want to do something. But most of the time with our canine partners, they are going and going and going, and will work until their little legs fall off. So this is an important part of making sure their legs are staying healthy. I feel like for me personally, sometimes this is the step that gets overlooked a little bit. I know you guys are used to scanning our pups, making sure they visually look okay, you know, making sure there's no bumps or any lumps that shouldn't be there, or scrapes, or even their eyes and their feet to make sure those look good. As far as this step goes, although it is listed last, it is one of the most important ones, because this can help you notice something very minor before it happens and before it becomes something big, and get it addressed then, before your pup's sidelined out of work. Either they are in an unknown early retirement and they're just done for their career, or they're going to be sidelined for several months. So this is a way to really check their legs out and really look for lamenesses that might not be noticed when they're moving around, but as you move their legs around, you're like, oh, okay, that seems a little bit off. So this is what we do, is we move each leg around. Now for the fanny, face, and feet, I do like our canines laying on our side, just because, especially looking at their belly, it's kind of hard to do that with them standing, because then you're kind of craning your neck underneath. And especially for like Miss Breezy, who's a little bit of a fluffier dog, you can't necessarily see everything that you need to see, especially on their belly, if they're standing up. So this is a great way with training, is getting our canines comfortable with settling a little bit and laying down so we can see their belly. I often know that you guys do train your dogs to do this to help check to make sure they're okay, but that's what the important step is, to making sure they lay down. Everything else can be done in standing. This can be done in standing. They don't need to lay down, especially since we're going to be assessing all 4 legs. And again, it's a relatively quicker assessment, unless you move their leg and you're just like, I don't really know if that feels right. So that might be a little bit longer assessment. But as far as just like a quick movement, it's a nice quick movement. We bend all the legs up and straighten the leg completely out on both sides. Oftentimes our canine partners are okay with those front feet lifting up, because they're relatively easy to lift up. As far as their back legs, they can kind of sometimes be a little bit awkward. So there are safe ways to do that to make sure they feel stable. Oftentimes I stick my knee underneath their belly to make sure they feel stable as far as moving around. And again, this is to feel how their legs are moving. And if there's a difference, especially difference from day to day, or even difference from right to left side. So if you're moving the right side and you're just like, oh, that feels about normal, and then you move the left side and you're like, that feels weird, or that feels different, or it doesn't feel like the right side, our dogs are balanced. So it should be something where the right and the left should look about the same and should feel about the same. Again, with all my canine patients that I have up here, I move their legs around and I compare from one side to the other, because based on breeds, you know, Miss Breezy here is a golden retriever, and then you have some Dutch shepherds, and then if you have some stockier dogs as well, they're not going to all be built exactly the same. So comparing like a golden retriever to like a Dutch shepherd, that might not be necessarily the same, but comparing your canine partner's right leg to their left leg is going to be a more accurate representation on how they're doing. Now, yes, they could have issues in both legs at the same time, but more often than not, when they have significant issues, you either had noticed something where either in training or in out in field work where something happened where they, you know, fell, and then they all of a sudden like are having a hard time moving around. But as far as if you haven't noticed it moving around, usually they're going to be, if they're going to be like what I'm going to call lame or have an issue on one side, it's typically going to be just like one side and not both. So again, some of those big major injuries, or even as our dogs get older, it could be both sides, but more often than not, it's just one leg. So this is Miss Breezy. She is a human remains detection and area search, or human remains detection as well as area search live find. Let me know if I'm messing up some of these things. As like I said, I am a service dog canine team. I'm not a search and rescue dog. I've tried to do some research. I am a nerd on scent theory. Let's get this. There we go. Let's see. We've got someone else want to jump in. There we go. Perfect. For those of you just joining, let me know where you guys are listening from. And again, if you guys are joining late, it is okay. This session is entirely recorded. So this will be getting sent over to you guys after this, after our webinar is done. So you will have all the information in there, as well as a easy to print. I like to say printable because sometimes those handouts are like colored background, cool, interesting pictures. Mine's gonna be a really simple printer friendly handout, easy to follow. So that's what I like to do, because as far as I put it in my training bag, I don't want something that's gonna take up my entire cartridge of ink. So that's just to give a heads up for those who have joined us halfway through. All right, so again, Miss Breezy, human range detection pup, and she's an area search live find. But like I was saying, we do scent work for fun, AKC, very loosely based on what you guys do. But I am a scent theory nerd. I finished reading my scent book a couple weeks ago, and I just was so excited about our search and rescue dogs, getting to talk what air scenting is versus sniffing the ground versus going in urban and human discrimination. I could go on forever. That's not why you guys are here. So like Ace here, who is an air scent live find pup, and his favorite thing is a good game of tug. How will I know what is normal? So going through those 5 steps, how will you know what is normal and what is not? Well, that's where I come in with the Working Canine Health and Wellness. So I have, based on this webinar, I have created a post-work check, the program. So this is going into detail on all the steps that we did, as far as teaching you how to do each of those steps, as well as teaching you what I'm going to call red and yellow flags. So as a physical therapist, we are taught red and yellow flags in school. What a red flag means is basically like, that is an uh-oh, that needs to go to the physician, or for you guys, the vet, right away. Yellow flags are like caution, just like the colors kind of look like. Yellow is caution. So it's something where it's like, we need to be careful about that, but it's not something that's like life-threatening right now. So that's what I'm going to be teaching you guys with each of those steps, is red and yellow flags, as well as how to do the movements, how to do the movements safely, and how to really help monitor your canine to the best of your abilities. Like I said, it's an in-depth training to help empower you guys as canine teams to make sure your partner is working at their best, because I do not want any of our working canines injured, but at the same time, this is going to help catch those early injuries. Now, I do want to say my little disclaimer, my medical disclaimer. This is not to replace medical care, not the 5 steps and not the post-work check, the program. Neither of these replace going to your vet on a regular basis. This is just a way to help empower you to notice differences, to know, hey, my wellness exam was last week. We just did a field work. Something doesn't look right. Do I need to go into the vet or not? It is helping to answer that question and helping to catch those early too, as well, because we don't want to be like, oh, maybe, I don't know. With this post-check, with this post-work check, the program, this is going to help give you that certainty to know whether you need to either call a vet or get them in right away. Like I said here. And this is Mr. Hans. He is a trailing dog with Class Kids. I think Hans's people are in the group, so shout out to this handsome boy. His current city is Pensacola. He is a heartthrob if you just look at that lovely face. All righty, guys. Let's keep going. So this is Gage. He is an air scent live find puppy dog. His personality is he has no fear, and he loves to work like all of our canine partners. I know my gal here, even though she is taking a nap with her favorite stuffy, she loves to work. When I bring her vest out, she could not sit still. So the post-check work, the program, what is included? So it is 6 weeks of training. And I know what you think, there's only 5 steps. Why is there 6 weeks? Well, there's a week for each of those of the steps, as well as a 6-week bonus week to help go over any additional questions, as well as to give some fun bonuses in that week. What is included in those 6 weeks of training? It is 2 pre-recorded videos every single week, okay? So that is every single week. It's not just one video. It is multiple videos, especially for the steps that are a little bit more involved, especially our step 1. So step 1 involves that walking and that movement screen. So not only going to teach you how to do the movement screen and how to appropriately walk your dog to get a good view on how they're moving around, but I'm going to kind of show you again what those red and yellow flags look like on when we need to get our dog in to get checked out, to see what else we need to do to keep them healthy. So in addition to those pre-recorded videos, we're going to get at least 2 group calls with me. Now, these group calls are a way to answer any questions that you guys have on the current steps that we have learned. The reason why it's a group call is because it will help facilitate discussion. It is a way, because I guarantee if Miss Susie Q has a question, Mr. Gage's people might have that same question. And instead of having individual one-on-one calls with me answering the same question multiple times, I want to have a group call together to really answer all those questions together. It also is a great way to bring up other questions that we may have. I know when I'm in a group call, you know, I have a question, and then someone asks a question, and I'm like, okay, that was my same question, but based on that question, I have another question now. So it is a great way to facilitate discussion and really, guys, help you guys learn as a group, as a worldwide search and rescue pups and working dogs. And this is open to all working canines. Like I said, I'm spearheading it towards search and rescue dogs right now because I absolutely love you guys, and I want to make sure that the work that you guys are doing to help our communities, your dogs stay healthy and happy for as long as they can and working for as long as they can. And when they eventually retire, still be healthy in their retirement. So this is a great overall. So again, we get 2 group calls. Again, bonus, you get lifetime access. If there are some changes that I ever do with the program in the future, I will tweak that and give you guys that video as well. But again, lifetime access. You can't beat that, because I know I don't want to give you a month access or 6 weeks access, because then you're just like, I learned that, great. Now I can't remember what she said in step 1. Can I go back? You get that for life, guys. I mean, unless the internet breaks, then I can't control that. But other than that, you guys get those videos for life. And again, this isn't limited to, like, if you have 2 working canines, it's not limited to like, okay, you can sign up with just, you know, Canine Gage here. You can sign up with all your dogs. You can, like, this isn't something that's limited to 1 dog per human. You can do 1 human for as many dogs as you have. Bonus as well is post-work check for puppies. So our puppies, love our puppies. I haven't had a puppy in a very long time, but I love our puppies. They are very different animals in the sense of introducing the post-work check. As an adult dog, as a dog that's either trained, they're going to be moving differently than a puppy. And they're also going to be understanding with your training is going to be a little bit different. So moving Miss Canine Olga around here, or moving my other dog around, you know, they're used to my touch, and they're also used to doing some training. And they're like, okay, you can move me around, whatever. A puppy doesn't know anything. And even though puppies are happy in the beginning of life, we want to make sure that we introduce this program safely. And so it always is happy, and it's always an exciting experience to have my human counterpart, you know, check me out after I'm done training. And it also helps kind of build that foundation where they're like, all right, I did training. Now it's time to get looked at by mom or dad. So that's why you get that bonus of post-work check for puppies as well. I know some of you guys don't necessarily have puppies, but looking in the future, if you guys get another canine puppy, and puppy as in like, you know, a couple weeks old, year-ish is what I'm looking at as far as puppy goes. That's why it's also nice because you guys get lifetime access. So let's say Canine Gage, you're working with him for a while here, and then, you know, a couple years down the road, time for Canine Gage to retire, and I get a new puppy, then I already have access to this program to how to introduce this to a puppy, as well as how to go through the 5 steps. Again, another bonus right here. First access to all of my upcoming programs. I am going through some additional advanced exercise education right now, and I am doing it with one of the top tier canine sports therapists as well. So I am learning how to advance our exercises, how to make them challenging, how to appropriately progress a canine from the foundation to the elite exercises. And guess what? You guys get first access to it just because I love you. So these are all the things that's included. All righty. Miss Moxie Mayhem. She is a recovery dog, and her favorite snack are wine gummies. You and me both. I'm not really sure what the wine gummies are, but if they're human wine gummies, like if there's human version, Miss Moxie, please let me know where you get them. All right, so after those 6 weeks, what do you get? You will have the certainty that you have thoroughly checked your canine partner. So you guys are going to have the certainty that you know it's not, did I check them thoroughly? Did I miss something? You guys are going to have the absolute certainty. Say, I know those 5 steps forward and backwards. I already know how to introduce them to my canine partner, and I know what the yellow and red flags are as far as, do I need to get them to the vet now? Do I need to get them further checked out before this becomes an injury that could potentially sideline them for months or put them into early retirement? That is my goal to prevent. I do not want our working dogs retired early because there was an injury that got out of hand and we could have prevented it in the early stages. So again, this is a certainty that you know your canine partners are checked out thoroughly. And again, like I said, this is the same stuff I do with my canine partner, Olga. I do this all the time to make sure she stays safe. And part of the reason why, I mean, if I had known this, several months ago and really had this program down several months ago and I checked her out, I might have, I'm sorry, getting ahead of myself. If I had not had this training and if I had not had created this program and there was little things about her movement that I missed, I could have missed something that could have caused her an injury to have her retire in a year. And I don't want that to happen. So that's why I created this program, because it is a helpful program for myself and how I evaluate her on a weekly, on a daily basis sometimes, but on a weekly basis at the very least, when we're not training, when we're not going out and work, and making sure I catch those little things now before they become problems later. And again, the goal here is to prevent small injuries or any type of difference, anything new, from developing into significant injuries. Now, this also does not just relate to actually physical injuries, but making sure we catch little things before they become big things. Like, we don't want our dogs having any significant arthritis that's going to prevent them from working, prevent them from moving, anything like hip dysplasia. Yes, that is something that's harder on them. But again, if you strengthen your dog early and you get ahead of that, it's not necessarily going to affect them as much as a dog that's not specifically strengthened for those issues that come up. All right, can I bring a friend? Of course, you guys can all bring a friend. So here comes the nitty gritty. There is individual and team pricing, okay? Individual pricing is $197, but again, did you see all the stuff you guys get? You guys get 6 weeks of videos. 5 of those weeks, we're going through each of those steps, diving deep, looking at what the yellow flags are, looking at what the red flags are, teaching you guys how to implement this as far as with your canine partner now, how to do it safely, and also getting you guys so comfortable with it does take you like 5 or 10 minutes at most to go through all these steps. It sounds like a lot, but again, it's going to take you just a few minutes. The more you get, more you feel certain that you're doing these things correctly. Now, individual pricing, $197 US, but there is team pricing. To avoid confusion on the team pricing, I did not put this on this slide. So when I say team pricing, I need to change this wording because we are canine teams, so we're all teams. Group pricing. So let's say, I know most search and rescue dogs, you guys don't work just singularly on your own. Typically, there are teams of groups or canine teams that incorporates, 3, 5, 10, 16, more than that, where it's like on like the Canada Task Force. Guarantee there's more than just the one search and rescue dog. So that is why there is a team pricing, but I did not want to confuse you guys as far as the breakdown goes. So if you're interested in that, shoot me an email. That's my email up there. We are the Working Canine Health and Wellness, where our email is Kristen@WorkingCanineHealth. That goes directly to me, and I will be able to address and give you that information as far as what that team pricing looks at. And it allows us to have multiple canine teams sign up together. You guys get discounts if you sign up together as a multiple canine team group. And as well as it helps you guys learn together. I know when I go through classes, especially right now where we're kind of in that social distance where we kind of want to get back and work together as teams again, this is a great way to kind of do learning together. Well, it's whether it's virtual learning where you guys call each other up because you've watched the videos, or it's where you guys can actually go with the videos in person together, as well as it can help you guys check each other's posture and form. It helps keep us accountable in that regard. So again, there is individual and team pricing. Team, just email me. I'll give you guys that breakdown because it does break down versus when there's like 3 to 5 or 2 to 5 canine teams versus 10 or more. So I do have that individually but just for time, didn't want to go through all that here. This is Emmerich. Isn't he a handsome boy? He is all these pups are handsome and beautiful ladies and gentlemen as well. Well, he is a human remains detection, and his story is he went from being on the euthanasia list to having 11 titles, including farm dog certification, rally, trick, and therapy dog, and he's an amazing human remains detection dog. All right. So I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you so much for sharing your guys' stories, sharing your guys' photos of your dogs, and sharing my time as well to really come together and learn a little bit of something to help keep our canine partners safe. Miss Willow and Jericho are going to end the slideshow of lovely, beautiful dogs. Jericho is a search and rescue pup. For fun, he loves to find people, play Frisbee, and then jump on things like this. Miss Willow here has a white star on her chest, reminding her humans that she was born 6 days before Christmas. What a Christmas present, I can tell you that. All right, guys, I'm gonna jump out of here as far as stop sharing my screen. Let's get in here. Let me get into the chat real quick. What questions do you guys have? Shoot them at me. If you want to type them in the chat, type them in the chat. And otherwise, you guys can unmute yourself and ask the questions as well here live. So what questions do we have? Shoot, give me some. I want to hear something.
Hi, Kristen. This is Carrie.
Hi, Carrie. How are you doing?
Good. How are you? I was wondering if there is any type of pre-stretching or something that you would recommend. Say we drive to training for a long time, or we're on a search, we drive there to a long time, and instead of just getting your dogs out, I know we get our dogs out and we break them before, but is there something that you would recommend having us do just so they don't get any injuries? I know it's the way with human athletes, runners and things like that. They do the pre-stretch and then they do the post and everything like that.
Yeah, definitely. We actually do a warm-up, especially before we do some conditioning exercises right now. And there are warm-ups and cool downs. And the nice thing is I designed this 5-step process to be a part of the canine's cool downs. So there's a couple different exercises that we can go through, and you and I can jump on a call here individually to go through all of them. But again, that's what that also access to those strength and conditioning programs coming up is that there is going to be that pre-work and post-work, or pre-training and post-training as far as warm-up and cool down, because your dog, if you're traveling somewhere, especially if you have to go travel and search a different area, or even for training, they're sitting in the car hanging out. And so we need to get them moving around and get them safely, because as we see with our human athletes, like I'm a swimmer, so I put everything to swimming. But as far as like when I got up to do a race, I didn't just like walk up and be like, ready to go. I did a warm up and cool down. So that's what also those upcoming programs are going to be created, as far as healthy warm up and cool downs that are not only healthy, get their whole body moving, but also something that's going to be a reasonable time frame to you guys implement. Because I know search and rescue dogs, there is 100% a time limit on your guys' search, because the longer you guys wait to go search, the more that scent deteriorates. As far as Nathaniel, that's okay. You know what? You get this whole presentation for recorded. So, but again, the longer you guys wait, the longer that human scent deteriorates, and even the vegetation scent increases, and then it becomes less. I mean, as far as like when you're ground scenting, air scenting is a little bit different, but the longer you wait, the longer that scent deteriorates, and the fewer chance you guys get to find those. So that's what those those strength and conditioning is. The warm up and cool down is going to be included in all those. As far as just safe ways, again, 5 or 10 minutes, getting them moving, getting them grooving, and getting them out there to help prevent injury. Hope that answers kind of your question.
No, that's good.
Perfect.
By the way, that was Natalie hiding in the tree for Gage.
Oh, it was? I loved all your guys' pictures. They made me laugh. I might have missed somebody and I apologize. Just because you're not in the presentation does not mean I have love for you. I try to get in every single dog that I got emails from, and I appreciate that. Just because I could posted all the pictures of my dogs, which I wouldn't have mind, but it's search and rescue dogs. Like I want to show you guys this off. It's amazing to see you guys. I appreciate that. And then it's question to get on the when am I sharing the presentation. As soon as I can get this converted into like a video file, which might take me like the rest of the afternoon after this thing, it should be to you guys no later than tomorrow through that email that you guys provided to me. So that's just that I did it for everybody who signed up, whether you guys could be here or not. I wanted to make sure you didn't miss this information because I know it's helped me so much feel more confident as far as how I'm doing with my canine partner. All right, any other questions?
Sure, I'll get one. So I missed, like I said, the first half of the presentation. We're off on a search. For Zephyr, he's training up to be a disaster dog. So I'm convinced it's going to be a when, not if.
Yeah.
He's going to be the dog who jumps through an elevated hole and goes down the elevator shaft. So he's pretty brave but cautious, but more, I'll say, crazy. So I guess every time we come off the pod, I'm a little concerned. So I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what things I can kind of keep my eyes out for, like small limps or splinters or any debris in the kind of eyes or on the sides.
Well, perfect. Yeah, because especially for him, I mean, all our search and rescue dogs are working canines, but especially for that disaster where you guys are in the hard areas, it's a great way to kind of protect them and make sure they stay safe. And I think he was in the beginning of the presentation, and I'm pretty sure I butchered his name, so I apologize to that.
No worries. Was it Carrie's bum that was being dragged through the woods?
Yes, that was my butt being dragged through the woods.
That was a great picture too. I was just like, he loves his tug. Yes, he does.
Yeah. So, and then I just finished taking another online course for decontamination. So is that something that you get into as well? So kind of exposed to harmful chemicals or anything like that?
It's definitely something I could give you guys as far as researched it a little bit more to how to safely do that. It is not my 100% area expertise, but I can definitely reach out to people that I know and get you guys that information and include it in the post-work program as well. So you guys have that video saved, just so you guys can use it for our current canines as far as Zephyr. Tell me if I'm Zephyr? Zephyr. Okay. Yeah, I butchered his name, so apologize to him as well. I'm sorry, Zephyr. But I can definitely get some of that information in there for you guys as well as far as decontamination, because I know urban searches and disaster searches, it's going to happen. And the way that sometimes our woods are treated, you could run into something as well. But yeah, definitely that would be wonderful information to include. I'm going to actually write that down so I do not forget.
Yeah, the CFTE, Center for Forensic Training and Education, they put on something pretty good there. So I put together a nice little package thanks to them. But it's always good to have that refresher.
Yeah, and definitely. And I'll look to see if there's anything that I can offer as far as giving additional information or just as far as like friendly reminders too to help.
Okay, and then leveraging from what Carrie had asked about, so I'd be interested in kind of a nice stretching program, kind of preventive, and also to kind of, be that kind of alert for me that, something may not be right.
Yeah. And that's that's why as far as the post-work program goes, you guys get first access, and I am finishing up basically by the time the 6 weeks gets done with the post-work program, I'm going to be completed with my additional 6 weeks of education as far as those higher level exercises. And in those strength and conditioning programs that will come up, it will include warm up, a cool down. As far as stretches go, unless they have a specific injury, I like to do active stretches to allow that dog to not only just move around, but there's also been, not to get into too much research talk, but there's research has shown as far as our canine athletes is where they look at this a lot, especially like our running greyhounds and our agility dogs is where they get more of their information, which is basically the same guys as you guys. You guys are canine athletes, just in a different environment. But they've shown that like just what I'm going to call passive, so me moving their arm isn't as good as allowing them to do the stretch themselves, because it helps warm up those muscles and prepare them for work. So that's going to be part of those additional strengthening and conditioning programs that are coming in the future, as well as foundation exercises and bringing your dog from not necessarily weak and injured, but being like an okay fit to making sure that they know that you are strengthening and getting those specific muscles and specific parts of their body as well really strong. Perfect, good. And I love your background. I wish I was on the beach right now.
That's not Canada, I can tell.
No, we actually have a blizzard today.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
We got some snow too, but not quite a blizzard, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Kristen, somebody said something about if you can touch on the subject about overheating while training or working on a search.
Yes, so especially for our dogs in the South, it's, I mean, anytime, especially the dogs that are darker coloring as well, can be concerns of overheating. And there are some definite signs to show that our dogs are fatigued and overheating. So I've been doing some research as far as those signs of fatigue, which the general signs that sometimes is, especially for our high drive dogs, they're going to do anything that you want them to do until their little legs fall off. So making sure we notice like excessive panting, also, especially if they're like, if it's something where they run back to check in on you guys, depending on if you guys are on lead or off lead. And, you know, sometimes we encourage the dog to kind of come out and then they come back to check on to make sure my human partner is with me and making sure I need them. Knowing that when they start running back towards us and they might start running fast and then they start slowing down a little bit, kind of can give an indication that they're a little bit fatigued and tired, especially heat related. But again, panting, kind of like squinting those eyes and like making sure when that return is, if they're going a little bit slower, it often shows signs of fatigue, as well as looking in how they are moving and how they're doing, depending on what your area search. If they look like they're starting to falter a little bit and their form isn't going great, we use that in our exercises. We look to see, does it look good or does it look crappy? And if it's starting to look like they're like faltering in movements, especially if they're jumping over things or having to dodge around items depending on how their search is going, if you see that their movement is starting to falter, oftentimes we gotta let someone in real quick. Julie Armstrong. All right. Oftentimes when they look like they're faltering, look like their form is breaking down, then that means fatigue as well. And oftentimes, depending on your ability to pull them off the search and give them a break, trying to do that, I know it just kind of depends. I mean, trailing dogs and air scenting when you're looking for someone in the woods versus if you're searching a like designated square foot area is a little bit more ideal situation where you can give them a little bit of a break, try to get them cooled down, water on their body, spray them off, you know, get them in the shade especially is a great way, just because, you know, we know as humans, if you stand in the sun and you stand in the shade, it's two different temperatures. So that's the ideal thing, as well as if they're starting to get that emergent heat injury, then kind of taking up to potentially seeking a vet to get them cooled down for like medications. Good question though, John. Thank you. I'm gonna look back to make sure there's no other questions in the chat. Perfect. Any other questions before I let you guys go? And I know, Julie, you joined us late, but that's okay. I've recorded this entire thing, including our questions. It's gonna be converted into a video file and it is going to be sent out to you guys hopefully tonight, if not by tomorrow, just depending on my technological expertise on how to do that. So this definitely will get out to everyone, and everyone signed up as well. But as far as the programs go, if we have anyone interested in signing up to the program now, let me get into that link because I do have a little form to sign up. Let's see. So I'm going to pop in this little survey. As far as the survey goes, it's going to ask you your name. If you do want to sign up right away, get that individual program, it does allow you to pay for that through my PayPal. If you're just interested in the team pricing, it will give you a question on whether or not you're into team pricing. If you're interested in the team pricing, it does not require you to pay for it at that point in time. It just links me, shows me that you guys are interested, and then I can contact you guys directly concerning the group and team pricing. So, and Julie, you know what? That's okay. I had some technological difficulties this afternoon. I couldn't get the dang Zoom call thing sent out right away. So internet and technology is helpful, but sometimes a little confusing. So I had that struggle today too. So you are not alone. All right. So if we don't have any other questions, that is the form that we can fill out as far as letting me know if you're interested in it. Again, if you just want to get signed up with that individual sign up, you can click that button. If you're interested in team pricing, again, it does not require you to pay for the team pricing. It just says, yes, I'm interested, and then I can reach out to you directly as far as other canine teams that you'd be interested in signing up with, as well as the discount and savings that you would get. So again, thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you guys for showing all those pictures of our lovely canines. I appreciate all of you guys on how much you guys do to help support our community and really help keep people safe. So thank you guys ever so much. I'm going to go ahead and end out, but I just want to say around the world, goodbye. Have a wonderful evening, a wonderful afternoon or day, depending on what time of day it is for you guys. So thank you guys so much, and we will talk again soon. Bye, everyone.
Bye.